Over the last couple of modules, we have just taken some time to understand what is service management, who are the key stakeholders of service management. We understood the various service consumer roles, which we have customers, users, sponsor, and what is the difference between a service provider and service consumer, right? We're talking about service provisioning and service consumers, right? Service consumption. Now let's explore the service relationship model, realizing that service provider can also and will typically be service consumer as well. The service consumer can use its new or modified resource to create an own product to address the needs of another target consumer group. The service consumer can use its new or modified resources to create its own products to address the needs of another target consumer group, thus becoming a service provider. Let's say that organization A is a software development service and generates a new application for service consumer. Notice that they are going to obtain the developers and programmers, so as well as software development platform and SDKs to configure the solution, thus offering and providing a product or service. Their service relationship is with organization B. Organization B, let's consider it's a car hire service that's using this new application which has been developed by organization A. This new application enables the consumer, the car hire service, to coordinate and manage the visit of car hire services to their client. The car hire service organization B, which obtains and configures the software, will offer and provide solution to organization C, which offers on-site medical and nursing service for elderly patient. So you're seeing how the relationship goes between organization A, B and C. Organization C has a relationship with organization B as a consumer, but it's also a provider to organization D, which provides training services to new potential employees, students and interns who are developing the skill sets to eventually offer on-site healthcare support and other services. Again, the service relationship is a cooperation between a service provider and service consumer, including the provisions, the consumption and the service relationship management. In this example, organization A was a software developer, organization B was a car hire service, organization C was a home visitation service, organization D was a training of students and interns. Organization B was a target consumer for organization A but a service provider to organization C. Organization C was a target consumer for organization B but a service provider to organization D. In this model, organization A is strictly a service provider, whereas the organization D is a service consumer organization. Organization B and C are both service provider as well as consumers, right? This example could be taken in any, you put yourself as an organization and see where you fit into it, and we are dependent on other organization. Let's take a banking service. Let's take particular bank. A bank provides a service. Once again, to provide the software services, it is dependent on a software development company, right? To provide the hardware, it is dependent on certain things. If it needs certain training, once again it is dependent on. So most of the time, an organization acts as a consumer as well as a service provider. One of the very important slides where we will try to understand value, outcome, cost, and risk. We have defined service few times. Let's try to understand the definition and how it relates, or how are some of the key concepts like outcomes, cost, risk, how they are interrelated to each other. Once again, I'm just reading the definition. A service is a mean of enabling value co-creation by facilitating outcomes that the customer wants to achieve without the customer having to manage the specific cost and risk. This section is going to focus on how an organization in the role of service provider should evaluate what its service should do and how its services should be provided to meet the needs of consumers. Achieving the desired outcome requires resources and cost and is often associated with risk. Service provider help their consumer to achieve outcomes, and in doing so they take on some of the associated risk and cost. On the other hand, service relationship can introduce new risk and cost, and in some situation can negatively affect some of the intended outcome while supporting others. Service relationships are perceived to be valuable only when they have more positive effects than negative effects, and we can see that here within the diagram. On the right hand side, we have more supported outcomes. We have removed cost, we have removed risk. Therefore, the pendulum shifts in a positive direction. Try to understand most of the concepts, whatever we go through, putting yourself as service provider, right? So, acting as a service provider, an organization produces output that help its consumers achieve certain outcomes. So, an output is tangible or intangible deliver of an activity, right? It's a deliverable of an activity. An outcome is a result for a stakeholder enabled by one or more outputs, right? It is important to be very clear about the difference between output and outcomes. For example, one output of birthday photography service, right? We used to use this service and still we are using this photograph service, or we shoot these photographs ourselves, right? So what is the advantage of using this photograph services? Birthday, like it could be any occasion, it could be birthday, wedding. So one output of the photograph service may be an album in which certain photos are artfully arranged. The outcome of service, however, is the preservation of memories and the ability of couple and the family and friends to easily recall those memories by looking at that. So just the photograph, when we talk about it, could be an output, right? What is the outcome? It's going to be the preservation of memories on a longer time. Depending upon the relationship between the service provider and consumer, it can be difficult for the service provider to fully understand the outcome that the consumer wants to achieve. In some cases, they will work together to define the desired outcomes. For example, BRM, right? Business relationship managers and internal IT or HR department may take regularly or will talk regularly with the customers and discuss their needs and expectations. Finally, some service provider predict or even create demand for certain outcome, forming a target group for their services. This may happen with innovative services addressing need that the consumer weren't even aware of before. For example, social network or a smart home solution or IoT, the Internet of Things. All these are certain things which have been using technology effectively to make sure that customer is able to get the desired outcomes.